Hello everyone, welcome to the first edition of 1.91 News with Bacon, where today we're going to be taking a look at our first piece of information about Update 1.91, changes and optimization of the German tech tree. Now of course, this is not the German air tree, this is more specifically referencing the German ground forces tree. Now, this is going to bring in a change that has been rumoured for, well, quite a while. Firstly, the removal of 3 vehicles that never actually materialized in real life, designed but never built. Firstly, the Panther 2. There was a Panther 2 built, it's just nothing like the one in game. The turret is effectively a normal Panther turret, chassis slightly different, but the Panther 2 we have in game was never actually built. The Flak Panzer 341 Coelian, been in the game for quite a while, used to just be called the Coelian, now it's called the Flak Panzer 341, don't know why, but you know, they changed the name for whatever reason. And the Tiger II 105cm gun. Big gun on that tank. It's a very nice tank. I really enjoy playing that. Now, as Gaijin do say, all these vehicles, these 3 ones, do have historical elements, but they were never fully built. Now, there's been a lot of changes. The Tiger II 105, for example, was fairly recently moved down to 6.7, and now it's going to be removed and become basically a collector's item. Of course, if you already have any of the vehicles mentioned in this video, you will be able to keep them even after they're removed. Which is why I'm thinking this is going to be fun, because the Tiger II 105, it's a 6.7, you have a 105mm gun, the stock round was actually... The previous stock round was removed, and now the new stock round is actually better. So it's actually a pretty damn good tank. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and finish spading all of these vehicles. Some of them I already have spaded, but the ones that I haven't, I will spade now, just because they're going to be rare vehicles, and I feel, you know what, I'm probably going to play them a fair bit due to their rare status. Now, one other tank's going to be removed. Of course, these 3, the Panther 2, the Flak Panzer Coelian, and the Tiger 2, these versions were never built. But they're also removing a vehicle that was built. This is the Mouse. Everyone knows the Mouse. Now, it's a bit of a cop-out by Gaijin, in my opinion. They've basically said that it was causing serious issues due to the impossibility of balancing. I don't feel it's impossible to balance. I know it gets a hard time. I've played it a fair bit recently. It does have a hard time against ATGMs, against anti-tank grenades, against heat rounds. It's a bit annoying. But I wouldn't say it's impossible to balance. Just move it down a very minor bit from its current BR, and that should be fine. Even things at much lower BRs can pen it in most places, so I wouldn't say that's a major issue. But generally, I don't see why they're removing the Mouse. But then, of course, something they said on another platform, I'll try and find a screenshot of it, does actually show why they might be doing this. They basically say that, oh yeah, for newcomers who missed it in the tech tree, we will include it in a future event. So maybe this is just because they're thinking, hey, we can do an event and have the Mouse in it and get a load of hype. So maybe that's what they're doing, I don't know, but just a bit of speculation on my part. Now, of course, all of these vehicles were introduced in the early years of War Thunder. They've all been here for ages. And the German tech tree has evolved, more specifically the game, of course. When the Mouse was first added, ATGMs weren't in the game. A lot of these anti-tank grenades, a lot of these things were not in the game. They are now, and they give it a hard time. So from that aspect, it's kind of understandable. Now, obviously, 4 vehicles being removed. Flak Panzer 341, Coelian, and the Panther 2. Both of them are at tier 4. And then the Tiger II 105 and the Mouse are at tier 5. What are they going to do to replace them? Well, in tier 4, the Panther 2 receives nothing to replace it. We already have 3 Panthers in tier 4 on that line. No need to replace it. In tier 4, the Flak Panzer 341 Coelian, that going means the Germans are left more or less without a tier 4 SPAAG. That's being replaced by the Ostwind 2, which is effectively just an Ostwind with 2 guns. Fairly simple, not a huge amount to go into. And as for the Tiger II 105 and the Mouse, well, you know, they're being removed, so that line effectively now is nothing. And what they're doing is they're taking the M48A2G A2 from the Leopard line, putting that in tier 6 at the end of that line, which still leaves tier 5 empty, giving that tank a slightly higher BR of 8.3 and the DM23 APF SDS shell. And then they're adding a new vehicle, the M48A2C, in tier 5 for that line. So effectively, to replace the Tiger II 105 and the Mouse, you're now going to be getting a tier 5 M48A2, and then a tier 6 M48A2 with slight differences. It is worth noting that the new M48 will be at a BR of 7.7, and of course in tier 5. Now, as I have said, it is worth saying again that if you have these vehicles before 1.91 drops, you will be able to keep them. The Flak Panzer Coelian, is it worth getting? I would say so. It can be useful from time to time. in higher games. The Panther 2, absolutely brilliant, love that vehicle. Tiger 2105, as I said, it's at 6.7, it was moved down recently. The stock shell has actually improved, it's a very good vehicle to have. And the mouse, well, it's the mouse, and it will probably be added in a future event anyway, so you might as well get it now and have it as a rare vehicle. Although, I do think that if that is added to the market in the future, that could cause some annoyance by the community. A previously free vehicle now being basically pay to win on the market, where you have to go and pay for the vehicle. But nonetheless, interesting change. We're replacing 4 old vehicles with 2 new ones, and of course if you already have them, you get to keep them. So more vehicles for you German fans who already have the tree grinded out. Good stuff there though, but that is more or less it for this episode of Bacon's 1.91 news. I'm not expecting any more devblogs for at least a few weeks, but we may get some earlier than expected, I don't know. But still, interesting change. It's good to see this happening, and it does leave up in the air what might happen to the R2Y2s. A similar case of a vehicle that, you know, there was a propeller-driven R2Y2, but that was the R2Y1 if I remember correctly. The R2Y2 jet-powered variant, though, was never actually built, so we'll have to wait and see what happens to them. But definitely an interesting change. Hopefully you guys are happy with this change. Do let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.